Hey guys, Jim here with another video for you. This is 50 Years in Film, 2023. But before we begin, at the end of this video, if you like what you see, please consider giving me a thumbs up, a possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave comments below. Let me know how you felt about this series in general, how you feel about these films, and if you have any kind of comments whatsoever, they're always appreciated, and I read and answer every comment. So we're at the end of the road, folks. This is the last year in our 50 years of film. We started off in 1974, and we worked our way all the way up to 2023. Kind of like 2022, I don't have a lot from this year. I only have 15 titles. And since it's the last one, we're going to kind of mix things up a little bit. We're going to still jump around in genre, but again, we're going to mix it up a little bit. So we're going to start off with the most successful film of the year financially, and that is Barbie, starring Margot Robbie, Ryan Gosling, and America Ferrera, directed by Greta Gerwig. As I said, this was the most financially successful film. This movie was a phenomenon when it came out. Quite honestly, it's not my cup of tea. I've never been a Barbie person. My sister played with Barbie dolls when we were young, and of course she insisted on making her little brother play with her. Maybe that traumatized me, but again, this is not the I am not the target audience for this film. However, that being said, this is an extremely well-made movie, and I can understand why audiences around the world embraced it. Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling are both terrific in this film. And if we started off with Barbie, we got to go to Oppenheimer, or Barbie Heimer. These two films were basically released the same week, and the marketing geniuses of Hollywood were pretty smart about this. They were like, hey, instead of going to see one or the other, why don't you go see both? Make it a double feature. And Barbie Heimer was born. Directed by Christopher Nolan, starring Cillian Murphy in his Academy Award-winning performance for Best Actor, Robert Downey Jr. in his performance for Best Supporting Actor, Oscar-winning, Emily Blunt. This is a great movie. Nolan finally won his Oscar for this, and deservedly so. This isn't my favorite Christopher Nolan film by a long stretch. Dark Knight and Inception are definitely my two favorite. However, this is an extremely, extremely well-made movie. And again, it deserved the acclaim that it got. Okay, then we're going to go into the superhero genre for the last time. So first we have Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. This was the third Ant-Man movie. Take off the slip here. Starring Paul Rudd, Michael Douglas, Evangeline Jolie, Evangeline Lilly, Michelle Pfeiffer, directed by Peyton Reed. As I said, this was the third Ant-Man movie, and it's the weakest, in my opinion. This isn't a very good movie. It's just not. Then we've got Spider-Man Across the Universe, the follow-up to Spider-Man Into the Universe. This one was directed by Joaquin Dos Santos, Kemp Powers, and Justin K. Thompson, and written by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who were the two brains behind the original installment. And I know I said in that original installment that they directed the first one. They did not. That one was directed by Bob Perschetti, Peter Ramsey, and Rodney Rothman. I wanted to correct that because I did make that mistake on an earlier video, but both of these movies are really fantastic. They really are. My grandson absolutely adores both of them. And again, I've seen them both, and they're extremely well made. Then we've got Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, written and directed by James Gunn, and starring Chris Pratt, Zoe Saldana, Dave Bautista, Karen Gillis, Tom Klumtikoff, and the voices of Vin Diesel and Bradley Cooper. Originally, this movie was not going to get made. As I said in those previous videos, James Gunn was getting ready to make this film. He got fired, went over to DC, made Suicide Squad, and then Disney relented and hired him back to finish his trilogy. Mainly because the cast flat out refused to work with any other director for this film. And they said, go ahead and sue us, especially Dave Bautista. He was definitely the biggest supporter. This is a really good movie. It's got a lot of heart. It's got a big emotional punch in certain scenes that I did not expect. I don't like this movie as much as the first two installments of the trilogy. However, this one is probably the one with the biggest heart. Like I said, it's a real fitting way to end that chapter of the MCU. That's it for the superhero guys. Next we have Renfield, starring Nicholas Hoult, Awkwafina, and Nicolas Cage. And I don't know why I didn't take the slip off that, sorry. This one's directed by Craig McKay. I really had high hopes for this film. When I saw the trailers for it and saw that Nicolas Cage was playing Dracula, I was in. And I knew that this was going to be a comedic film, and it is. It's not a horror film at all. It's definitely comedic. Very underwhelming. It's not a bad movie. Nicholas Holt's fine in it. Nicolas Cage is great in this movie. He really is. The movie itself, it's underwhelming. Again, it's not bad. It's just not great. And then we've got Cocaine Bear, directed by Elizabeth Banks. And this one stars Kerry Russell, O'Shea Jackson, and the late, great Ray Liotta. I love this movie. It is dumb as hell. It's everything that the title implies, okay? If you go into this movie thinking that you're going to have an intellectual exercise, you're going to be sadly disappointed. If you go into this movie thinking you're going to have a fun, stupid time with a bear amped up on cocaine, this is exactly what you're looking for. This movie, like I said, it's not a good movie. It's a B movie at best, but my God, is it fun. Okay, now we're with the horror. And we're starting off with The Boogeyman. Adapted from the short story from Stephen King from the Night Shift collection. This one is directed by Bob Savage. And it stars David DeMalchian. And he played the Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad. Low-key movie, PG-13, but it does what it's supposed to do. Again, this isn't a terrifying movie by any stretch of the imagination. It is creepy, though. It's creepy, and I really enjoyed it. Next, and this one was a shock to me, Saw X, starring Tobin Bell and Shawnee Smith, and directed by Kevin Greutert, I believe. This is the newest installment of Saw, and this is actually a prequel. This takes place before the events of the original Saw movie. And you know what? I really liked this movie. I was shocked. I did not see this theatrically, had no desire to see it. Picked this up recently, very cheaply, because I have all the other Saw movies, and if you've been following these years in film, you know I'm not a huge fan of this franchise. I like certain installments, and I like moments from other movies, but all in all, to me, the franchise kind of ended with part 3. I was mistaken. This movie's great. It really is. They're talking about making another one following up the events of this one, and if they do, and they do it as well, I will check it out. This is a really, really good movie. And then we have Evil Dead Rise. This is based on the Evil Dead movies that Sam Raimi created, of course. This one is directed by Lee Cronin, and it stars Lily Sullivan and Alyssa Sutherland. And the two of them are incredible, especially Lily Sullivan. She plays the mother who gets possessed by the demons in this movie, and her performance, just on a physical component, is incredible. But she nails it, as does Miss Sutherland, who plays her sister. The two of them are fantastic in this movie. And this movie is actually really good. It's gory as hell, but it's a lot of fun. It's very intense. It's a throwback to those earlier Evil Dead movies, and I kind of hope that they stick with it, because if they make another one like this, I will definitely check it out. We're going to end the year on action. First, we're going to go to Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This is the 5th Indiana Jones film, and it is the first one not directed by Steven Spielberg. This one is directed by James Mangold, who also directed Logan. This one stars Harrison Ford. I don't like this movie. I like it better than Crystal Skull. But like Crystal Skull, this movie doesn't really need to exist. This franchise should have ended with the 3rd installment. It really should. Again, this isn't a horrible movie. I don't hate it like I hate the other one, Crystal Skull. To me, that movie's an abomination. But again, this movie, it's not that great. But this one is Equalizer III, directed by Antoine Fuqua, as he also directed the first 2 installments, and once again starring our man, Denzel Washington. Dakota Fanning is also in this movie, reuniting the 2 of them from Man on Fire. Great movie. Great movie. All 3 Equalizer movies totally kick ass. This one is no exception. Denzel brings it like always. I love this film. Then we have Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, starring Tom Cruise, Rebecca Ferguson, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, and Henry Czerny. This one is directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who also directed the last couple of installments. Good movie. Again, solidly made movie, great action, great acting. This one left me a little bit underwhelmed, mainly because, again, it's a part 1. So obviously it doesn't answer everything. They are going to have one more film to complete this. And as far as I know, that is also going to end the entire Mission Impossible franchise as far as Tom Cruise goes. But again, I'm a big fan of this franchise, and this is a very good movie. And we got probably the most successful action movie from that year, and one of only 2 movies that I saw theatrically that year, John Wick Chapter 4. The other movie I saw theatrically was Avatar: Way of Water. Can't stand that movie, don't own it. But I do own this one, and I really like this movie. This one stars Keanu Reeves again, of course, Lawrence Fishburne, Ian McShane, the late, great Lance Reddick. And I definitely want to bring up Bill Skarsgård, but more importantly, I gotta bring up Donnie Yen. And I was hoping that they had a picture of him here, but they don't. Donnie Yen plays the blind assassin in this movie, and he is getting his own spin-off, and that makes me very happy, because his character is, without a doubt, my favorite character in this movie. Him and the fanboy that Mark Dacascos played in Part 3 are probably my 2 favorite characters in the entire franchise. John Wick 4 is great. It's a great action film. The only problem I've got with this movie, well, I got 2 problems with this movie. Number 1, it's too long. I'm sorry. This movie felt like a marathon watching it theatrically. I mean, on video, believe it or not, I actually preferred it than I did the theatrical experience, because, again, this movie's exhausting, especially theatrically. But more importantly, the thing that I had a problem with this movie is I don't care how good their Teflon Kevlar suits are, okay? If you get hit by as many cars and fall out of as many windows and fall down as many stairs as John Wick does in this movie, I'm sorry, he would have been dead or at least badly injured in the first 10 minutes alone. This movie definitely gets over the top ridiculous, but again, it's a lot of fun. We're going to end it on this one. Cesu. Not only was this the biggest surprise of the year for me, it's the best action movie from that year. Hands down. This movie's great. This one is directed by Jalmari Helander and stars Jorma Tumala, who I believe is that gentleman right there. Knew nothing about this movie, never heard of this movie until I went and saw John Wick 4 theatrically. And they ran this trailer beforehand. And I told my sister, because the two of us went together, I said, wow, it looks like John Wick's grandpa killing Nazis. And that's exactly what this movie is. This is lean and mean. It's an hour and a half, and it flies. And all it is, literally, is this guy right here killing Nazis left and right, and does it in gloriously disgusting ways. This movie rocks. It really does. I was shocked how much I enjoyed this movie. I did a ranking of 2023 at the beginning of the year, and I placed this one number 2 behind Oppenheimer. I think this one's my favorite movie from the year. It really is. This movie is fantastic. And that is the end of 2023 and our 50 years in film. I hope you enjoyed this. I certainly did. This was a lot of work, but it was a lot of fun. And like I said in the previous video, we're not completely done yet. We are going to do a couple of extra videos here, but I want to take this opportunity to thank Ranger Sly. He's one of my most loyal subscribers, and he is the subscriber who originally suggested that I continue this series after the first installment. He really pushed for it, and he has watched every installment and commented on just about every one of them. And I cannot thank him enough, or the rest of you, for watching this. So until the next time, I hope you guys have a great day. And if you liked what you saw, please consider giving me a thumbs up, possible subscribe, but most importantly, please leave those comments. I cannot wait to hear from you. So until then, I hope everybody is doing well. We'll see you on the next one.